Get a roll call.
Sullivan,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Smith, here.
Alright, just go. What's that?
Approve the minutes.
Oh, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Alright. Under the new slash old business, Darren will meet with the concrete contractors in the near future regarding the sidewalks. Any new developments for that?
Yeah, it's here for the minute.
Perfect. Alright, 205 North Poplar would like to have a sidewalk, council will vote on it for the 50/50 program. We did that. A certified letter has been sent to the owner of bond due to the tree hazards. Any update on that now?
Sent a letter from mowing too.
Yeah, we did. Haven't heard anything.
WCIA was here on 4th, had barricades set up. It seemed like a pretty good turnout for
Yeah, it
everything.
was.
I didn't get a chance to catch it on the TV.
I had DVR it, yeah. It was good. If anybody wants a sign, take one. I know we've been telling people, because now we're gonna collect them tonight.
Okay.
And Abby will have them. Abby or I.
The Catholic Church will be having a fest on the 20th. Barricades will be set up blocking St. Peter Street, approximately to the fire hydrant. Parking will be at Parish Hall.
Darren, will you guys just take the ones from uptown after we're done with them? Because we'll need them that weekend. We'll need quite a few.
Yeah, we might take them. There depends on when you're done. We got extras out there.
I just,
may.
we need this year we're gonna need a block off in front of the beer tent where the cop shop is, that whole section there for Saturday.
Okay. We'll bring up, we'll have them in all the places, and you guys can just move them around where you want them, whatever, so.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
Do we need to come get them then to put down fresh?
I mean, we're gonna clean up, Sunday morning, so whenever,
Oh,
you guys can always,
We'll have them down there if we're out. We'll borrow some from Petersburg.
okay, something else now, just gonna sit back. Supposed to ask. It'll come to me.
Alright. We did have a lengthy discussion at the last meeting and council meeting about the raises. The tree trimming budget will be over due to the number of trees damaged in the last storm and plus the one we just had. So we got quite a bit more trees.
and I did reach out to, I know somebody called Janet, but I also reached out to Betty, the one that I talked to previously on storms.
Yes.
And I have not heard back from her yet.
Okay.
So
So we
I'm
got
waiting.
yeah, DCO had called some lady and was talking about it.
So I'm not sure which one to,
Go with what you
Christian
know,
County
go with
one.
Christian County.
I think that's who it is.
Yeah.
What's this about?
Well, it's because we got declared a disaster area, so any expenditures that you have, we can get reimbursed. So this lady
So I
from
think
DCO
it's just
called,
one
and it was just like
tree
it's
and
courtesy.
overtime.
Yes.
It's from the June 29th
yes.
storm. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think we only had the one tree, correct, that we paid for to get, which,
Well, that's just the one we got to so far.
oh, so we're gonna have more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
there's
haven't
a
got the
lengthy
one till the
time
end of
frame.
June,
Yeah.
yeah.
That they
That's
give
what I was
us.
gonna say. More
Okay,
details to
all
tell
right,
what's
then
going
just,
on.
just let me know which ones
Mhm.
is from that storm then,
Yep.
so that way we can make sure we get, hopefully get reimbursed for all of it.
Well, there'll be most of them on the list.
That's good.
So, yep, we'll keep track of that.
How
Yeah.
much
Do
is
they
it,
want,
Terry?
what are they gonna,
Oh, I don't know. We have to turn it in.
I'm not
and then
even
we
sure,
reimburse
I don't
that.
even know
Yes.
what we can turn in, when to turn it in, where to turn it in, that's what I'm trying to get now, is
they gotta figure it
information.
out, cause a lot of times it's,
What
you know,
are
of
we
course,
supposed to
the
do?
contractor, but if there's any machine hours, like hours on the backhoe, you can turn in, hours on the dump truck.
Yeah, she said anything. This
Labor
lady from DCO,
hours.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
that stuff is probably on there, so we can,
Because
Yeah.
I figured this last storm would contribute to that too.
Well,
Well, they
you-
haven't discussed,
It's from the June
Yeah.
storm, but they're yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
And then also the time for the Atkins over at that time for the working on the generator that counts too. Is that storm related? So yes.
Yeah, so as long as you,
and
Darren,
Selena,
keep track
that was
of what
good.
your hours are on all of that, and
We'll
we,
come up with some numbers. Yep, it's
Yeah.
all done.
Perfect.
How long you got, what's the timeline?
We don't need
that.
to
That
know
I
that.
don't know. I could probably
Okay.
find that out.
Find out again, cause I don't know
usually
exactly
they
when we're gonna get
Leave it
that
for a
figured out.
while, but I'll find that
I mean, I
out.
have to give you time to get it cleaned up.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. And this lady knew, you know, because she called on Monday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, this is different. So she done the EMA one, or this is doing the DCO?
Well, I know the
That's
DC.
DCO is different. It's a grant.
Yeah, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with hers.
On Dylan,
Yes.
yeah, then that's
Mhm.
the EMA one that
Yes.
I've contacted Betty
Yes.
regarding, but
So
I have
you
not
got
heard.
on too? You're working on it?
Well, so she called about a grant, and we're going to meet on that later. But it was very broad. She goes, "Oh, I'll feed you all the information on it."
You have 250,000.
Yeah.
So Janet, I don't need to do anything on that one, you're gonna take care of that one since it's a grant, right?
Or
We'll talk
you
about
replying
it. We'll just talk about it.
Alright,
I can
I
forward
don't
your copy. to you.
Yeah. It was. I only had like a 5-minute conversation with her, and she was just
She just called
introducing
yesterday.
herself.
So a grant, so you're gonna double dip, or what are you doing here? If we
Well,
get paid through
see,
EMA,
no, that part I don't know. If
see,
you're allowed
get paid
to.
here, then
you can't do that,
You
yeah, we
can't-
can't
yeah,
do
that's
that.
that was how I
do it.
was interpreting it. Is
That's
that
what
you
I'm saying.
can't, but then at the same time, she was talking about it, about the June storm. So I will find more out when I have time. But just go with
Keep
the declaration with Betty and
continuing
yes.
with Betty until, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I know, I just changed the
Yes.
subject, it just came to me, takes just a little while.
Mm-hmm.
You guys use the picnic tables from the park for the fest? Okay, we need those the next day. And John Holdhouse, does he move them for you? Okay, John's gonna move them down to the parish hall, so they won't be at the park on Sunday. So Janet, I need to make sure that there was nothing booked at the park for Sunday, or just keep it, taken, cause we're taking the picnic, or we're using those picnic tables.
Thank you.
then you guys can get them,
John's in on this, so he'll take care, if he brings them, he
When-
can take them back too.
yeah, whenever, so. You won't need them at all on Sunday.
Okay then. Darren, did you have any more?
No, well, no, I going to thank Darren. There's been a good response on Facebook picking up the limbs. I hated that. Here we are, third time, March, June, July, August, we have this storm and everything, so I was gonna thank you for it. Just,
Yes, thank you for the
yes,
hours and.
for it all.
but we had Weekla, they came down with their
Yeah.
chip on Monday morning and did some chipping for us, that helped out a bunch, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've got a lot of, they've got some employees up there, and then, Caleb Cruzine helped also Monday.
Good.
And Tuesday, he actually, helped all day Tuesday loading trucks too, so.
Yeah.
And had a couple trucks here, and his workers too, so that helped out a bunch there, so. Yeah, had a lot of help, a lot of
Yeah.
people, so yeah, worked out real well. It's probably, the dump's probably as full as I've ever seen. I think we've
Yeah.
taken, there's probably 50 to 60 dump truck loads out there.
Oh, gee whiz, I have to get right out there.
And we haven't got it all done, there's still a lot of limbs in the
Yeah.
backyards that aren't drug out yet, so.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, yeah, we'll just keep on getting them as we can, I mean, we got other
Oh, I
stuff to
know.
fill in between, so, but yeah.
And everybody's been reasonable
Yeah,
about it.
and there's
I
only,
mean, it is.
can only get so much
You're gonna do
done.
so much. That's exactly right. And the city bought lunch for those guys on Monday
Yeah.
too. They told Darren he could.
And, pizza,
Mhm.
fed everybody.
And then you sprayed last night, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The real way to control those is, spray does, well, it's all different, but to catch them, we treat the catch basins and stuff. Catch the larvae, that's it, standing
Mhm.
water in the backyards. If people take care of that, that helps out more than
It
just
does.
spraying. Because when you spray, it's not just a mosquito killer, put it that way. It's not specific, there's no way it can be, so any other insects are involved. Your butterflies and all through everything else, so. If homeowners wanna help out, the real thing is to get rid of the water out of your backyard,
That's
gutters and
exactly
stuff
right.
like that, so.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. So, yeah, when is, community rummage sales for cleanup days? Anybody know that?
Well, the rummage sales would be the third weekend in September, it's always the third, whenever that is. Historically,
sure
that's what it is,
knows.
the third weekend, and so whatever
So
the
the
third,
16th.
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's the
And
third
then-
Saturday.
So then you skip a week and then you do it usually,
We do
Darren?
the following weekend. Is there holidays in there, anything? in there?
No, I mean the 4th. It's a Monday. That's Labor Day.
16th, you said it's Thursday,
That's
we
the
start
third.
rummage,
The third Saturday.
and
So
then,
September
yes,
15, 14, 15 is the rummage sales, or 15, 16?
is that the
I would
third weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then it'd be that, yeah.
It's first, second, 8, 9, 15, 16. So 22, 23 for cleanup days. September. That's the following weekend.
Mhm.
What's 25? That Labor Day?
No,
No,
the
Labor
4th
Day's
is Labor
the-
Day.
Early
Because it looks
fourth.
like it's dark on there. Is there some kind of other
25th.
holiday?
The
September?
25th,
Oh, the 20. Yom Kippur.
How's
I
that?
don't believe the same thing will be
For the
sold.
Jewish. Yeah.
So let's do cleanup on 22, 23 then. Is that good with you guys?
Yeah, that works
22 and
perfect for me.
23, okay.
Doing trees, that's a good deal that we got the emergency management stuff on that, so
Yes.
yeah. I'm gonna look into, I'll have, see about getting one of those generators for the street shed. When we are out of
Okay.
power, I mean, our doors are shut,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
so we can't get equipment out unless you do some,
Well,
Creative
you probably
stuff.
have to have, how many guys to even try to lift that?
you know. So-
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna get a price and see, I don't know,
Okay.
I'll find out, but I don't know if Butcher still does it, or if it's through that Generac through.
We're looking at
So,
a program through the water,
Yeah, they are
and
looking
so
at-
yeah.
But I think the one we talked to, they only did like certain generators, like Generac.
Yeah, Generac.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what the Atchison, I think, it only does the Generacs or whatever, so I'll find out, I'll talk to Greg and see, or
Okay.
I don't know exactly what size we need or anything like that, but yeah, that's all there, so. And then the next will be the concrete bids. I got 2 different ones, same guys as last year. R&B, Peters, out of Taylorville. I'll explain where the locations are, some of them kind of. And there's that one. There's 3 pages to the next one, just because it's drawn out. There's just there's another step. And that's it. So, basically, the concrete, put together, what we're looking at is doing in front of Wadza Hair and the boutique, 6510, redoing all in front of that. And then we'll move south in front of Barnes Power Sports. And then the sidewalk on down, and then correct that ADA right there at the laundromat.
Yep.
Looking at that little sidewalk between there, I added it in there, might as well be done. There's no sense in doing one end or the other, and actually, on the one bid, it's not that much difference. So doing those 2, and then coming down to this end of the block by Wimpens there, and ADA in that corner, it's already had an attempt at ADA, but it's
Yeah.
cut out and it's heaved up and busted, it's not
I know what you're
very
talking
good,
about.
yeah. So it's taken that, really, it's got a curve there, so it's cutting straight across where there's a joint anyway, and replacing that piece of pilot and right there up around the lamp post and all the way around, so. That'll straighten that up for that block on the north and the south end then. And then we got a spot there where Lucky D's used to be,
Yes.
coming from the front, and then you go to the bank. And then-
Okay.
Yep, and then across there in front of Joyce's building is done, so we're pretty good from one end to the other.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we would
Yeah.
be.
The only spot left would be down there at Fisher's that goes out into the road. Right onto Samuel.
Samuel.
That's a
Oh,
curve
okay.
right there.
Curve, yeah.
Yep. So we'll
I know
look
what
at
you're
that
talking about.
in the future. So
Okay.
anyway, looking at all those spots, they're pretty similar on how it's quoted. I told them, break it out into the pieces, so each one like in front of Wads. And the other is the sidewalk out there. That would be, starting there at the school and going to Casey's and cutting the curb and putting, the
Sidewalk in
ADA
through
in through there,
Yeah.
so it's walking all the way down through there. So, and that would be paid out of the COVID money.
Okay.
So, how long do we have COVID? We got,
Till 26.
okay,
The end of the
because this
year,
will be
end of
about
that
half
year.
of it,
Okay.
and then we can figure out what we do on the other half, so that's all good then. So, the sidewalk going out there to Casey's, Hutchins Excavating, he's at 15.5, and R&B is at 16. So Hutchins is the lower bid on that. I guess a little background, R&B is poured for us. Hutchins,
They have.
he has bid a couple years here. He pours Mawequa and several others. Mr. Bingham probably knows him.
Yeah.
So,
He did the
He's good.
park, didn't he? I think.
Mhm.
I think he did.
so he
Yeah.
did, yeah. So, yeah, so he's the low bid on that. And then the next one's, in front of Barnes is Power Sports, Hutchins 3750. And R&B is 4,000. So he's low. I think if you total them up, they're the same. It's confusing on one because Peter's got it bid there at $1,000 to do the handicap at the laundromat, and then handicap with the sidewalk is 1,500. So you can scratch that 1,000 off that part. But if I added them up like earlier, they come out the same. Or Hutchins is a little, I think it's the same, but overall Hutchins is less in the total bid. So,
We'll take them to finance.
yeah, and see, I guess, yeah.
Zoo.
So Hutchins is a low bid. I mean, if he's low
Yeah.
bid, Mr. Bingham's familiar, he does.
Oh, yeah, he does good work, yeah.
does
Yeah,
good work
no, he
too.
does.
So, yeah, and so does Peters, so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they did brewery.
yeah.
yeah,
Those guys.
yep.
Yep, they did in front of those, so, yeah. So, anyway,
And time frames. I mean, I know from both of them it's about the same.
Yeah.
You know.
they're both, yeah, soon as, if it passes it,
Uh huh.
council, just let them know and they will throw it in their schedule and they'll get it done this fall.
Perfect.
Before it gets cold out, they said, they're both willing to come right at it, so. Actually, I think Hutchins is, got Mawequa to do yet,
Okay.
so he said he might, if he gets, however it works out, he could do them both. He'd come this way and he would do them both at the same
Okay.
time. So, yeah, we'll figure out where we're gonna put the sidewalk exactly on, out at the school. Which side of the ditch. Do you know, is there a setback? I talked to Cliff and Cliff said there's not. This is 25 mile an hour. Cause a curb sidewalk can go, you can put a sidewalk right on a curb street right up next to traffic.
Yes, yeah, but IDOT, but you're not technically restricted by IDOT anymore,
We're
so
not allowed
I
that
don't believe that
anymore.
you'd have any.
It'd be like a
concerns.
bike trail.
Yeah, you
It'd
just
be
don't,
like-
you really don't wanna have them, if you
We're not gonna
can't.
be right on the.
Yeah, yeah, you
we'll
don't
be
want-
over
yeah,
some,
yeah.
but we won't be,
Right.
there's no restrictive,
Yeah, you just
like,
don't wanna be right
8
next
foot.
to it, cause if a kid, you know,
Yeah.
is walking and falls off, you know.
we're gonna push it from the road, we're gonna push it as
Yeah.
far as we can to stay out of the bottom of
Yeah.
the ditch is what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
So, yeah, and that'll be, opened up at the school in there, we'll have, pads both ways, and I'll have a pad going down the ramp there. And then the next project will be figuring out how to get across Casey's over to the Dollar General subway area over in there, which will just be a crossing through there, so
Yeah.
we'll have to light it up and everything else, that might be the rest of some of the COVID, just to put a pedestrian crossing and all that there, and then we'll have to put a culvert in to cross.
Cross over there. I gotcha.
And we're working on, we'll try to get this fall to the path down to Dollar General. So,
I saw people walking in the road.
Yeah.
on Saturday,
Try
yeah.
and get that done if we,
Uh-huh.
the storms would ever let up a little bit, and give us some in there, but. it is
Well, we'll
what
probably
it
have another one in October, given our rate.
is. Yeah, that's the way it's going. So, yeah, that's, I mean, that's really all I got going down through there. Concrete bids, we get that okayed, and then,
Mhm.
everything's on there. So, yeah.
I'm happy with
Anything
it,
else,
yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, here to talk about the subdivision project I'm working on. I think that, you know, we've discussed about water and sewer, you know, quite a bit, and a little bit of drainage, but really not talked about really sidewalks and roadway work, and so, I first, you know, will bring up sidewalks, just because that's what we just talked about. So initially, you know, we're not planning to put sidewalks in at this time, you know, that was kind of, as it was discussed with the board, you know, trying to reduce some costs, you know, starting out. But I do wanna plan, you know, for the future, you know, of putting sidewalks, because I think that, you know, say if I were to live lot 2, and I, you know, had kids that went to school, you know, how are they gonna get to school? And so my thoughts are, I'm not gonna walk around all the way, I'm probably gonna cut through. And so I was thinking, and I'm perfectly, you know, want some input from you guys, you know, I think you'd have some easements, maybe cutting through lots. I don't know if I really like that idea, but I'm just brainstorming, you know, to, you know, allow, you know, a kid to walk through, and then maybe the school would have to put, you know, a sidewalk in later on. And this is just for hypothetical discussion right now. It's not like I'm planning to do it, but if I don't get an easement put in there now, then, you know, then we're gonna come back and have to do it later. So, that's one thought I had, and then also, you know, possibly as the, you know, coming around behind the track and field, maybe having a, you know, put something for the future, a trail or something that would run to the west side of the track, and, you know, come off of the cul-de-sac end, you know, where you
There's
have.
drainage back there.
Yeah, so there is, yeah, plan to have drainage.
No, I
you
mean,
know.
back behind the track, there's a ditch back there.
Yes, there is a ditch back there, absolutely. So, you know, I'm, you know, I'm just, you know, talking out loud, you know, how we can get something, you know, for future, because we're not planning to put sidewalks in right now. We might as well make sure we got it planned if we're, you know, I think it's gonna be a conversation if this grows out, you know, hopefully you have,
Yeah.
you know, young families with kids, and, you know, they're gonna be wanting to get their kids to school anyways. But so that was I like the idea of coming to, you know, where Dollar General's, you know, that sidewalk would come down, you could eventually maybe cut across and tie into something like that. That would be, you know, running down the right of way would be easy to put sidewalk. It's just, you know, the other options. And I don't know, you know, what you guys think or, you know, envision. Let me talk about that. And then I wanted to definitely talk about the size of the roadway, the right of way, and then the alleys. So your current ordinance is a little confusing how it says, you know, what the width of the roadway is. It reads 30 foot wide. You know, I don't know if, Darren, if you have a preference or not, but I'd say typically it's 24 foot wide. You know, you do two 12-foot lanes basically. And that's what I have planned.
Some of the old ordinance counted sort of the easement too. It was from the center of the road, and actually part of the easement.
Yeah, so
Because of what
okay.
ordinance you're reading.
Okay, yeah. Well, in the ordinance it says 60 foot right of way, and then it says 30 foot roadway, you know, surface actually, and so it's a little misleading. But yes, it has 30 foot roughly from the center to the edge of the right of way or easement as you
Because we got
describe it.
a whole lot, they're all different sizes in
Yeah.
town.
So yeah, my plan is, and all along what we had discussed was 60 foot wide, and then 24 foot roadway, and then V gutters on each side of it for the drainage. So the actual roadway would be you know, a rock within A3 oil and chip surface. You know, it's not gonna be an asphalt. It'll be an oil and chip surface. And then on the outside of it, we'd have V gutters. You look like a you know, a curb and gutter, but it's just, you know, depressed, so that way the drainage can, you know, get through there. If you wanted to do a curb and gutter, it's definitely something, you know, not, you know, right now I'm getting ready to put plans together, and I want to have the discussion, so you know,
Yes.
we get it.
Curb and gutter's a whole lot more money back then.
Yes,
It is.
V gutter would be cheaper, and so
Cheaper, yeah.
and,
How much water are you gonna be able to handle through there?
off the top of my head, I mean it's
I mean, that's what there's a certain spot out there, there's a lot of water goes through.
Yes, yeah, so my thoughts are that, yes, there would be the drainage is gonna shed to the west, and then it'll be carried through a storm sewer for smaller storms, but then there will be a pond to the west end that'll catch that drainage. It'll retain it and then release it at a slower rate, to not,
To
take it.
that ditch back behind the
Yes,
track.
to that ditch back behind that track. Well, so not the ditch that runs. There will be a tile that runs to the west side of the track. In the event there is a large storm, then of course we can't carry everything through the tile. So there would be an
You're adding more water to that ditch that backs up the floods there at the
Not
baseball field and the apartments.
Not plan to add any more water. That's what the pond is there for. It is to retain it. So we're not adding any additional. That's why you put the pond in, try to to reduce that drainage.
I've heard that before.
Yes, I know, I understand. But if we don't put the pond, then we're definitely not.
No,
we're
yeah,
definitely not
flood all that in.
planning
Yeah.
for it. So that
But
that's
it's still gonna put water to it, that's the whole difference.
it
Even
already,
if it's retaining and then letting it out slowly, you're still putting water.
it already
additional
does
water.
though. So when you talk about drainage law, is you're not adding any more water than what was there existing. You know that water gets there because it's a field. It has to go somewhere, and it drains back that way. So
We know it drains that way?
yes, yep. Not all of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, smoke and mirrors,
Yeah.
whatever you wanna do.
I'm open for discussion if you have
I'm
some
just saying
ideas.
you're putting more water towards that area that floods anyway, and we can't fix it anyway. Either way, I mean, you're flooding at the apartments and the baseball field, and you're putting more water in that ditch that goes that way, one way or the other.
Do you have any other ideas?
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying, unless you run the water out this way to 51.
Yeah, and a little bit of it will go out to 51 because there is a kind of it's not really, it's really flat through there.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
my thoughts is, yes, it's called a vertical curve, how you have the road, is it's gonna shed a little bit back to 51 and the rest of it's gonna go west, and that's kind of how, the site is. It is really flat, yes, though, it does shed to the west, but some of it sits right there, kind of south of John Holt House anyways, but yeah, I mean, the only other option I see is you're gonna put a large storm sewer in and run it through town, and nobody's gonna wanna pay for that. But yeah, that's the intent of the pond, is to reduce you're not adding any more water than what is there existing, getting back to that point, so. That's the plan.
When you say a
for-
pond, what do you, how
It's not.
big?
It's not really. I shouldn't describe it as a pond, but on the west end, it'll retain the water and then release it at a slower rate.
Right.
So you can call it a pond, but it's going to capture the water, and then slowly release it to the storm sewer that's there, that will be put in the tile anyways.
But how large is this? Because my first thought was, when you say pond,
Yeah, when I
it's
say
like,
pond,
if we have, you're talking about children and stuff, I was just worried about
yeah, it's
having
the berm.
Water.
Yeah. So and I'm going to be putting together plans, that'll show this. But as you get to the west, it drops
Yes.
off where that swale is, and it's
Yes.
roughly the swale is 3 feet lower than what the ground is to the east a little bit.
oh,
So we were talking about a 3-foot berm. So we're talking about maybe a 2 foot tall, where it's going to hold the water. That's been the plan. That's why I'm bringing this here to discuss it. If you have concerns and would like to see something different, I'm open for ideas. That's as it's been discussed for a while, and that doesn't mean anything. We can change it now if you've got a different opinion or different ideas.
I'm open to a sidewalk on one side of the street, on this side.
on the north
Yeah.
side?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's what we
Down,
planned.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, so I mean, the sidewalk down the street is that's the easy part.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of room for a sidewalk as of right now. Once you start getting utilities and in the way, but the sidewalks along the road's the easy part, and then getting it from there wherever else is what I wanted to try to make sure we're thinking about. Now getting it over to 51 and across there, you're kind of stuck with whatever you have.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to try to put a sidewalk, I kind of envision like maybe a winding trail or something that would cut back through the school, and I'm just it's not saying that it's gotta be built, anyway, I'm thinking in my head, but, some way or another, you gotta get from the road.
But you could always do that later to get an easement, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just we're gonna be putting together a subdivision plat, might as well, if you can get something now, we don't have to now though either, but if I didn't bring it up and then a year down the road is, why didn't you plan for that, so. And I am already gonna plan for easements, between the lots, because I just know how it goes, and, in the future, a utility might wanna run, run electric or something between the two lots, so you're gonna wanna try to have it where there is easements available, but sidewalk is definitely something that we didn't really discuss. Roadway is pretty straightforward, other than my conversation about the 24 foot wide. The ordinance reads, I believe it says 30 foot. The cul-de-sac, your ordinance says 100 foot diameter. We had 80 foot diameter. A semi turning radius is 40 foot. So I don't see, I can go 100 foot. That's as the ordinance, but I have had planned 80 foot. Just the diameter of what the road is. The way I see this in the future is eventually, hopefully, that cul-de-sac would go away, and there'd be the road would extend to the west. If the subdivision starts getting growing, more houses and going to the west. But so that's why that way we didn't have such a large cul-de-sac to have to deal with down the road. But really, just want to make sure you can turn a garbage truck around, school bus, fire trucks, basically. So. And no problem with an 80 foot, turning radius. So, if that's fine, I know that there were some discussions about updating your ordinance, and I think that those are still.
Well, it is still, yeah. We should have everything done for September.
Perfect. Unless you have anything else, this is how we plan to put it together. I don't know if you have a preference, on the alleys. Do you care if they're called alleys, or do you want them to be easements? So an alley is a dedicated right of way to the city. An
We'll
easement.
just call it an easement.
Okay. So an easement the city doesn't have ownership of it. An easement, they would have ownership to the easement. My only thought on if we did that, if somebody wanted to add a fence, then they could technically go back to their property, back to their line, which I don't care either way. But if you want to call it an easement, that's fine. So you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
think that's what Joyce referred to it as.
Well, some get confused by an easement and a right of way. So they're two different things. An easement is
Yeah.
In legal terms, what they are. An alley is owned by the city.
Right.
The property owner has no rights to it.
Right.
Most people think they do. An easement is owned by the property, but then property owner, but then the city has a right
That's
to
right.
use that
Right.
that easement for utilities or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter.
You're
to
running all the utilities down the middle though, right?
Water and sewer, yes, everything's ran down the middle. There is the storm sewers that are ran down the backside. There is a storm sewer on the west end. I'm not saying that I know where the electric and the gas are going to run. My guess is that
Electric be in the ground.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be underground. I guess do you have a preference if it's run down the back or the front, for electric and gas anyways,
If it's in the back, it'd be better, yeah.
out of the way, so then you don't have to deal with it, and that's something that we can, yeah.
What do you think, Travis? Back?
Yeah.
You're an electrician, so.
The back would look better for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just you're running two lines of that line coming through instead of going down the center.
Yeah.
Does Ameren pay for, they put one line in, or you have to pay for the second? That's the other.
They're gonna charge to put in the electric and gas, so I mean, that's part of
One
what.
charge no matter
They're
what,
in
one
charge no
line or
matter
two.
what. Yes, yeah, they're in charge no matter what. Now the way Ameren works is you get that back if, as the lots get built out. So you have to put up the upfront money, but then you get reimbursed that as usage gets done.
They feed one house off one buzz box, or they gotta have one or two?
There's probably, more than likely it's 3 at a time. And it'll be just like a big brick box,
Mhm.
backyard,
Mm-hmm.
and each will have its own basically breaker that feeds that house.
That would look nicer if they're in the back, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I was looking at, if you put it in the front, if you fed 3, you would put like, whatever it is, lot 3, and you could feed 1 and 5.
Mhm.
But then you're going backtracking too, so down the back would be,
I will get with,
Yeah.
I'll get with Ameren, cause, you know, this hasn't been discussed with them for a while, but I'll get with them and get, that way they know we're moving forward with it, so we can get what their preferences are. But I'm glad we discussed that, so now I agree, yeah, it'd be nice, and then they're just gonna wanna make sure they have access back there, that's why we're putting the easement in. Sounds like all I had anyways. And I'll discuss, I'll be putting together plans and we'll discuss it further, you know, I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
before I get going too far, that everybody has a chance to give opinions.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
so all your approaches into each lot will be centered no matter what, and then.
No, those won't be built until, so the road would be built, and then as the houses put in, then they're gonna, they'll have to come and
And
say,
there's
hey,
no ditches, you just have.
there's planned no ditches,
no
right? Yeah.
ditches, so
Yeah.
it's just whatever goes in, the water runs off, so there's no culverts, nothing like that.
No, that's the plan, yeah, no culverts, yeah, so my thoughts are, as they build these lots out, they're gonna be building basements, so they're gonna have spoils, that
Mhm.
hopefully that ground, we can have them where that ground's got that dirt, most of it's some of it'll be hauled off, but it'll taper off, so then it'll
Mhm.
shed to the road, shed to the back, and that way you don't have to deal with ditches, culverts, but yeah, this access for each lot is just arbitrarily shown there in the
Mhm.
center, but once the house is built, they're gonna pick,
Yeah,
wherever
wherever
they.
that's what I was gonna say,
wherever
culvert
they
was, that's, so there's no culvert. That's good too, no culverts,
Yeah,
all they do is plug up.
yeah.
That is true.
So yeah, I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll start getting plans together, and I'll have further discussion. My goal is to get some water and sewer, because that's what's going to take the longest to get permits. So I'll have those, beginning of September to submit, and I should have roadway plans by then, and subdivision, at least a draft anyways, to further, bring it to discuss anyways.
Sewer coming out to 51 and then heading north to tie in, or are you going out the?
So sewer
West.
is running west to a pump station, and then running north up to
Push it up there to the other.
up to the sewer. That's the manhole that was just put in. Now there was a manhole that's going to be right across from the water treatment plant, but it was discussed. Then we have to bore across the highway, which all of it can be done. If you wanted to have the force main discharge back over there, in the grand scheme of things, it's all getting the same location, I guess. So the only downside is then you have to trench through where all these spoils are back there. So that'll be a chore. But
So I was thinking it's easier to come out this way, even though you're bored, it's probably easier.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
if you I can
The end
change
of it.
I can change that.
talk to Jack on that, but that might
Yeah.
be something.
Well, Jack doesn't want to do a pump station. I have talked to Jack with it, but
I can see that.
yeah, the only way we cannot do a pump station I see is if we run a gravity sewer all the way back. This manhole that's up here next to the concession stand is absolutely deep enough.
Mhm.
This one is not deep enough. So I would not want to run a gravity. That cost will be crazy because you're running through.
You have to be,
You'll probably have 25-foot deep sewer.
that's what I was gonna say, you'd be 20 foot
Wow.
time you get over there probably.
But whereas a force main, you'll have it, you can have it 3 foot, you can trench it in over the berm, but, I'll talk with Jack again about it, I think the pump station is the way to go, unfortunately, I know Jack doesn't want to because of just maintenance purposes, then he has to, have another pump station he has to check on, it'll be similar to,
It's just more electricity every month, everything else. I mean,
yeah,
It's not
Oh,
checking
yeah,
on,
it's
it's just,
true.
every month is another power bill.
Another power bill.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
get like 50 now.
And,
Yeah, I know.
and then as pumps go down, then it's maintenance on the pumps. It'll be very similar to the pump station. I'm not going to do with a can like GSI, but it'll be that size anyways. It's going to be a small pump station. It won't be, like what's going out there or what's...
But you could gravity flow under 51 and tie in, right?
No, you can't gravity. This manhole is not deep enough
Not deep
to get
enough.
there. Because the ground, sheds off to the west, and so you're
Mhm.
fighting it. You're going backwards. I did make this one large enough to come down, you know, pick up something, or deep enough to pick up something to the south, but, you know, wasn't planning that there'd be you know, new subdivision, and it would have made this sewer so much deeper if we would have made this one, that one.
But you're shorter distance coming this way than going the other way though too, even though you gotta go deeper. I mean, you're
Yeah.
fighting going in the ground further, but
Yeah, but you can't, gravity wise, you can't get it in that manhole anyways, you know what I'm saying?
to get to it, yeah, elevation to even where
Yeah, your sewer, this coming out here is gonna be lower
Yeah.
than what that invert is there, cause this one's, off the top of my head, is 10 feet deep, and so if you're starting here and going backwards, you know, and we're talking
you're
about.
already 10 foot deep over there.
Yes, you're
Deep
talking
as the
about,
grounds.
you're talking about putting in, you know, basements, and so you wanna make sure your sewers are deep enough to, you know, have each house go to the new gravity sewer. I know Jack wants to do a gravity sewer, I can't help him there, I guess. I can, but I don't think the city wants to pay to have the sewer ran through there, so, we looked about, having it run this way, and, cause there is a sewer up here, but, this one's not deep. The main trunk is, I'm drawing a picture way up here, cause I know where it's at, but, you know, running down Illinois Street,
Yeah.
Is that where the school's drains is over here?
there's a manhole right here in the alley,
Okay.
that's where, if I remember right, that
They
was
come
the,
out in the middle of the front, right?
yeah,
by-
and that's
by
where,
the sign at the school, there's a
Okay.
manhole out front.
and there was a
Okay,
manhole,
right.
that was the one that was, the lid or something was falling apart, and they put a plate or something, is that right? Yeah.
Had to be dug off, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, it's,
It was the old manhole from the school.
old sister looking manhole.
Yeah, I wasn't there for it, but yeah, I heard about it. Okay, well, yeah, no, I think it's been a good discussion, and I have some ideas. I'll talk with Jack. I'll get with Ameren, so they know. And then their proposal they prepared will be obsolete. And I don't know if you know or not, but are they the pad mount transformers? Or are those the ones that they're having a hard time getting?
They're pretty much having trouble getting anything.
Okay, I thought pole mounted ones they weren't, but yeah, I'll have that conversation with them. So there was a long lead item, which was I thought it was the pad mounted transformers, and they were saying like those were like 2 years out last I had heard. It might have got better than that. They were saying like 102 weeks, and I'm like, how the heck do they come up with 102 weeks, you know? But I'll talk with,
Logistics talk, huh?
yeah, I'll talk with them and go from there. And I'll talk with the gas. I'll get with both of them anyways. Alrighty.
The gas boys may wanna go down the middle, it's just,
Yeah. Which gas wouldn't be
Different
terrible if
from
it went
power.
down the middle, because then they could just have,
but it's all underground.
yeah, the meters, come on the side of the house or something like that. But the electric would be nice, actually, have some of those
It just gets
transformers.
the boxes out of front, I mean, if you're making it, yeah.
I will have the conversation with them, and that way we'll get that ironed out. So, well, I appreciate you guys giving some input. So, yeah. Any other thoughts? So, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Darren, too, for your contribution.
Thank you.
Alright,
Nothing else.
anybody? Alright, that's it. Motion to move the meeting to adjourn.
There's an old bar. God, this